Greetings to you, all members of Mentoring Masterclass. Like I told you some time ago, in Mentoring Masterclass, we shall be looking at some very issues concerning our lives. Issues that we've heard of, issues that we've discussed about, issues that come into our consciousness, but we have not been able to define them or know the total ramifications of such issues. One of them is the issue of pride, the issue of arrogance. Today, I want to talk about arrogance so that you will understand what arrogance is all about, and you will know how to combat people that we regard as arrogant. A lot of people talk about arrogance, but do they have the proper perspective of it? Do they have the right conception of what we call arrogance? Now, let's look at it. What is arrogance? Arrogance is a trait people have when they have more confidence than they should really have. The feeling that they are better than they are and the failure to see their faults. Arrogant people tend to be hard to get along with because they often assume they are better than everyone else. As a result, they fail to listen to other people's views, consciously or unconsciously, making others feel less important. They brag about their achievement, skills, and ability, and often ignore those around them. In meetings, for example, arrogant people generally seek the spotlight. Those individuals often believe they have nothing to learn from others, so they act like know-it-alls. These people, they fight tooth and nail to be correct and to show that others are wrong. As a result, they don't listen to other people's views. Arrogant people boast a lot. This is because they think they are amazing. People generally find this behavior very annoying. So arrogant people might not have many true friends. Arrogance can take many forms, such as an inflated sense of self-importance, impatience with less informed team members, a reluctance to listen, or disdain from different point of view. The body language of an arrogant people or of arrogant people is that of dominating personality, pointing fingers at someone's chest. You see them when they're talking, they're always pointing finger at you, or they stand hands akimbo or waving someone off with a flick of finger. Now, let's look at types of arrogance. There are three types of arrogance. Three types. One, individual arrogance. An inflated opinion of one's ability, traits, or accomplishment compared to objective and truth. When you find someone who is so boastful about himself, his actions, what he feels he can do, that is what we call individual arrogance. The second level of arrogance is what we call comparative arrogance. It's an attitude of superiority manifested in an overbearing manner of presumptuousness, claim, or assumption. An inflated ranking of one's ability, trait, or accomplishment compared to other people. The third level of arrogance is what we call antagonistic arrogance. This type is probably the most serious arrogance, which is about denigration or mockery. The type of person who enjoys the denigrating others based on the assumption of superiority. The antagonistically arrogant person shows active opposition or hostility towards someone or something. You hear them say words like this: I told you you will fail. The way you are carrying on, I told you you will fail. Rather than ask for advice from me, you feel you can do it alone. I told you. I've been there. I know it. You are still a baby in this field. Those are the words of arrogant people. Now, let's look at causes of arrogance. Why are people arrogant? It often boils down to insecurity. Most times, arrogance boils down to insecurity. Arrogance is a defense from feeling of weakness that are unacceptable and unclaimed. An arrogant person generally has a warped understanding of himself and most often a skewed understanding of the world. He feels terrible. He feels very terrible about himself, about his inadequacies. He feels so inferior to people around him. Therefore, as a defense mechanism, this arrogant person hides his real feelings and self in being who he is not. Arrogant people. Now, let us look at examples of arrogance. When we say someone is arrogant, what do we mean? How do they manifest themselves? Number one, a person who thinks he is too important to wait in line. A person who feels he is too important to be on the queue. When you see such people, they are arrogant people. A common place we come across such arrogant people, real life, is maybe in public places like banks. Mention them. Maybe you are in a mall. Rather than be on the queue and wait for their turn, you just see them, they just come, they look at, maybe, who are the people online that they just come there straight to the teller in the bank or to the person, the machine in the bank there, and they are discussing. And arrogant people they don't like waiting in line because they generally believe they are more important than anyone else on the queue. They feel they are busier. When you find people who say, oh, I've been very busy, I'm busy, watch them. It's like they are telling you are not busy. They feign importance and like to be seen and treated as one. They walk in straight to use the automated machine at the bank, not minding the people on the queue. You are in a banking hall, waiting for the person before you to finish before you speak to the teller. Here, the arrogant person will come and speak to the teller, not minding you waiting in the queue. That is an arrogant person. Number two, overestimate their competence. People who overestimate their competence. They think they can do something, without practice. Something hard without practice. This attitude has been explained by Fred Krueger. By Fred Krueger and David Dunning. They call it a theory of incompetence. The Dunning-Kruger effect occurs when a person lacks knowledge and skills in a specific area, and it causes them to overestimate their competence. Dunning and Kruger research shows that underperforming individuals reach erroneous conclusions and make unfortunate choices, but their incompetence robs them of their ability to realize it. This incompetence, in turn, leads them to hold inflated views of their performance and ability. Number three, a person who thinks he is always the smartest person in the room. You know them. I'm sure you've come across them. Arrogant people. If there is a question to the generality in the class, an arrogant person will always be the first to start talking, even before thinking properly or organizing his answers. You find his unpreparedness in his and filler words like that. He will talk over the top of others who like to pause and think before speaking. There he is with the feeling of know-it-all. You will never be able to convince them to stop, to listen, to learn something new. The ideas will, in their mind, always, their own idea is always the best. If you have an arrogant co-worker in a meeting, They might speak over you and never let you to contribute. They will think that any comment you have is not worth it as much as their own. So they don't care about whatever your comment will be. Number 4, arrogant people think they know better than experts. And that is so funny. Experts are knowledgeable and skillful in particular areas. Experts have put in many years of research and study and practice to get to where they are today. They know every detailed result or topic and can use that expertise to make good predictions and assumptions. But arrogant people will ignore the experts and assume they know better. Ignoring experts is arrogant because it discounts hard work and expertise of others. They often think their guesswork or little knowledge is comparable to or more essential and valuable than what the expert has. Arrogant people often die foolish deaths because they are steeped in their own opinions. Number 5, they lack humility. In fact, the opposite of humility is arrogance. Arrogant people have no respect for age, for achievement, and for position. A woman wins an award in a particular contest, and it's too much for the arrogant people to congratulate the winner. It will be too much for them to congratulate the winner. According to an arrogant person, he will say, oh, that woman, she slept her way to the top. She didn't qualify it, or I know her. You know, when the arrogant get to an office and finds out that a young man, perhaps his age mate, is the managing director, the arrogant man will look at him that, after all, he's my age mate. Who is he? What does he think he is? So what is the big deal? What's the big deal in being the managing director of that company? When you hear people say that sort of things, such statements, they are arrogant people. The arrogant person has an explanation for every accomplishment that others could attain in their life. They are not humble enough to appreciate such people's hard work to achieve those levels. They are not. They are not. The arrogant hardly succeed because they can never get what you have no respect for. Whatever you don't place respect for, you cannot get it. Arrogant people only think themselves, sees themselves as higher and better than others. There is no room for arrogant people to improve themselves because they do not recognize their flaws. People who are not humble do not have growth mindset. Number 6, arrogant people. Inability to see their faults. Like I said earlier, arrogant people are hard to get along with because they are always ready to be right. They believe they are right all the time. They think they are better and that they fail to see their faults. You cannot correct them or draw their attention to any error. They have a ready-made answer to every observation. They can lie. My people will say they can lie for Africa. They will quote unfounded facts to support their position, all in a bid to create a kind of backup for their inadequacies. Number 7, arrogant people won't listen to criticism or advice. Arrogant people won't listen to criticism. They hardly seek other people's opinion. If an arrogant person is told that they are not good enough in something or need to practice more, they could turn it into fight. They can turn it into fight because they will regard it as an attack. Arrogant people could be touchy and oversensitive. That is why most arrogant people can't get along quickly with friends. Number 8, a co-worker who can't work with the team. That's an arrogant person for you. When you find someone who is mostly a loner, someone who finds it difficult to work with team, is always an arrogant person. Most arrogant people will find it hard to work in team. This is because they think their ideas are always better than those of other team members or the person who leads the team. An arrogant person has a fixed idea in his mind that he believes he is the best. And if not accepted by others, he is not ready to cooperate with the team. He wants his thought to reign supreme, with his eyes or talking, with him taking the glory. Number 10, a boss who doesn't listen. When you have a boss in your office that you find it very difficult to walk to him and say, Oga, this thing, and you just want to tell that, I know it. I know, don't worry. I know, don't worry. When you have people who say that such things there, they are arrogant people. When an arrogant person is your boss, life can get very tricky for the subordinates. Your boss won't listen to your input and will have an overinflated sense of their leadership skill. The boss is uncomfortable if an associate has a good idea that the team agrees with. The boss could see their thoughts and suggestions as insubordination and plan to assist them as the boss. In most cases, such a boss runs the company aground because one by one the subordinates try to start to avoid him, and perhaps they are ready to leave the office. Number 10, don't give credit to others. They don't give credit to others. Arrogant people. The arrogant person is not ready to recognize your contribution. In a team, they don't credit others who have contributed to the success story of a particular project. They feel diminished by praising others. They downplay the brilliance of others as little as or of no impact, not needing acknowledgement or praise. When you find people who cannot praise, who cannot say, oh boy, you are brilliant, oh boy, you are doing well, or give compliments. Maybe a lady dresses well, so, oh baby, you looking good today. Where did you get this clothes from? Oh, I love this. I love this clothes. Some of them will go as far and say, oh, can you even give me this clothes? I'll buy it. They don't really mean it. But they will tell you that, oh, I like this clothes you wear. From where did you buy it? It looks good on you. When you find people who cannot give compliments to others, they are often arrogant people. I advise you today, my friends, don't be arrogant. You must have learned 1 or 2 lessons today before I give you the 11th indices or the 11th signs of an arrogant person. When you find someone who is doing good, let's learn to say, oh, you are doing good. When you find someone who is doing well, let's tell them, oh, you are doing well. When you find the son of your friend, the son of your co-workers doing excellently well in school, tell him, I love your son. Your son is doing well. Arrogant people find it very difficult to say. Before I go, the 11th sign of an arrogant person, they are unapproachable and indifferent. Most arrogant people are standoffish, aloof, distant, and indifferent. They often know their inadequacies and tend to be reserved, remote, or cold to avoid exposure. They mask this in their attitudinal reservation or unruffled composure when they can afford it. But when cornered, they become defensive and loud and expose their flanks as empty, unprepared, unwilling to learn, and perhaps unteachable. Deep down in them, they know that they have a great sense of inadequacy and a great sense of deficiency, which they often fail to address. Arrogant people, I'm sure you have learned enough about them today. And we are not learning about the arrogant people for fun. We are learning about them so that we will not be like them. Let us check ourselves individually. In the corners of your home or in your private moment, ask yourself, Where do I fall into these 11 signs of an arrogant person? May the Lord teach us. May the Lord help us that we will learn how to corner ourselves very quickly so that the world will not corner us. I believe you've learned something today. May the Lord bless you. Thank you. Bye.